welcome to the video. In this video, we are going to talk about Google Kubernetes Engine. So basically, GK is a fully managed Kubernetes service and it is based on the open source Kubernetes platform, which is developed by Google only. And now it is open source and it allows us to deploy, run, and scale containerized applications on Google Cloud. In this, Google manage a control plane and the core infrastructure, reducing operational overhead, like it will manage a control plane and all the aspects like installing and upgrading the system. So basically this video series will be on Google Kubernetes Engine. I will not cover Kubernetes in depth. If you don't know Kubernetes Docker, you can check out some very good courses available over the internet. You can check out Kube Simplify or Code Cloud courses. Now there are many benefits of using JKE, like it is a platform management. You don't need to manage masters or ECD CD. So all the master nodes, basically your control plane and it's all the components will be managed by Kubernetes Engine, Google Cloud only, and it has improved security posture. Like we have private clusters and we have IAM integration, shielded nodes. For the cost optimization, you can use auto scaling, spot VMs. You can even use autopilot mode. We will discuss what is autopilot mode in upcoming slides. And for the reliability and availability, we have multi-zone cluster, self-healing node. So this is a basic Kubernetes engine slide which I have shown you, like what the options we have, but in the next few slides we will go a little deep. So this is the architecture diagram for your Kubernetes cluster. So if you see, this is our control plane and this is our kind of worker nodes. So if you go inside control plane, so basically control plane is the brain of your Kubernetes, and control plane is responsible for decision making and cluster management. All the decision will be taken under control plane only, and it has many components. First of all, it has Kube API server. It is a central entry point for your Kubernetes, like all components like kubectl, nodes, controllers talk only by the API server. It validates your requests, updates cluster state. Then we have etcd, which is a distributed key value store, and it stores entire cluster state like your pods, nodes, config maps, secret deployments. And if your etcd is lost, your cluster state is lost because it always store your all the configuration, how you have configured everything. So you have to make sure you have secured this. In GK, you don't need to worry about it, but if you are using on-prem and all that, then you have to little bit worry about etcd. Then we have scheduler. It will decide on which node a new pod should run, and it uses factors like CPU and memory availability, node labels, or is there any intents or affinities available on the nodes. Based on that, it will schedule your pod on the worker nodes. Then we have controller manager. So it runs multiple controllers like your node controller, replica set controller, deployment controller. Then we have cloud controller manager. So basically it will integrate with your cloud provider. Like this is your cloud provider, it will integrate with this. It has AWS. It can be our AWS, GCP or Azure, any cloud provider, and it will talk to this. And it will also manage your load balancer, volumes, any load life cycle. It will manage by your controller manager only, and will directly talk to your cloud provider API. So your any cloud you are running Kubernetes, it will have a cloud controller manager. Then we have worker nodes. So in each worker node, you will find a kubelet. So you can see this one node, this is second node. In each node, there is kubelet. So kubelet is an agent that is running on every node, and it will always talk to Kube API server. And it has responsibilities like starting of ports, monitoring containers, reports pod, and node health. Then we have Kube proxy. Basically, it handles networking for your services, and it will maintain IP tables, pod-to-pod communication, service load balancing inside cluster will be taken by Kube proxy, and you will find Kube proxy on each node. Then we have pod. Pod is the smallest deployment unit in Kubernetes, and one pod can contain one or more containers. And pod will run inside your nodes only, worker nodes. And then we have CRI, that is container interface, container runtime interface, and basically it is interface used by kubelet to talk to your container runtime. So some examples will be your like container CRIO, and for responsible for actually running the containers. You will find this diagram very like not much complicated. It is a very easy diagram, and just remember these are control plane in which you don't need to do anything, and these are the worker nodes in which you run your applications. This is by managed by Google only. Now when you create a cluster, those GKE clusters are built on compute engine VMs, or we can say nodes, and nodes are grouped together to form a Kubernetes cluster. So whenever you create a cluster, if you go to compute engine, you will find multiple VMs are there, and those VMs are inside an instance group. And if a VM goes down, it will be recreated by instance group. So these are the VMs, basically worker nodes you will find inside your instance group. But you will never find control plane because control plane is managed by Google only and you don't have access, direct access to it. You cannot log in, you even not find in the console only. Then we can deploy applications. So application are packaged as containers and container runs inside pods, which are scheduled on nodes as we have already seen, and we can manage using Kubernetes API. And control plane management, like we have a control plane in which we have API server, scheduler, all controllers, and Google manage the control plane. There are some key concepts you I think you already know about. What is node? It is a VM in which GK where pod runs. Then we have pod, it is the smallest deployment unit. Then we have deployment. Then replica set, stateful set, daemon set, service. You can read out all these things, or you can even search on Google also. Very simple things these all are. After that, in Kubernetes, we have two modes, autopilot and standard. So basically, autopilot, Google manage your infrastructure. You don't have to do anything. In standard, you manage your infrastructure. So let's go to the key differences. In the node management, it is fully managed by Google. You don't do anything. Just create the cluster and Google will manage it. It is a standard mode you have managed by you. Only control plane will be managed by Google, but rest of your node, worker nodes, your release channel, your upgrade, all these things you can manage by yourself. Resource model, you have to pay per pod. Suppose you want to run two pods and they need two CPU, 2 GB of memory, so you have to pay for that only. But here you have to pay per node. Whether you need 1 GB memory or one CPU, that doesn't mean like you will pay per pod. You have to pay per node. You have to pay for the full node which you have provisioned. So that is why this is autopilot is very cheap. Standard is very a little bit costly, but it will provide you more options also. And in this scaling is automatic. Here you have manual scaling, or even you can configure auto scaling also. Security, it is more restricted by default. Here we have full control. Like if you want to run privilege pod, you want any root access, so you can use standard mode. Bin packing is here is automatic, and here you must manage. Like if you want to put multiple pods on the same node to save cost, so you have to do this on your own. But here Google will automatically do this for you, and it is best for production, cost efficiency, and simplicity. But it is if you have any special workloads you want to have custom infra needs, so you can run standard mode. Also you have no like we have Cloud Run also in which you can run your containers. So what is the basic difference? Let's see. So Kubernetes in GK we have Kubernetes control and Cloud Run is serverless. For the deployment and management, like Kubernetes clusters and nodes we have to manage if you are using the standard mode. In this you don't have to manage any infrastructure because it is serverless. We have full control for, and here we have limited infrastructure control. Application type is like you can run any application like stateful, stateless, complex. Here you can run only stateless or event driven application. Don't run like if your application need database or on a cloud run, basically you can use Gkey, that is helpful. Scaling, you can scale based on pod or node. You can scale based on request. If more requests come, more container will be created. It is best for long running complex workloads. It is for API microservices, any background job you want to run. Pricing model is you will pay for nodes or pods if you are using autopilot, and you will pay for request and execution time. So these are the main differences between GK and Cloud Run, and these are the autopilot and standard. And we have discussed this architecture diagram also. So let's go to console and just create a cluster and see what are the options we have. We will cover very basic in this video, but in the upcoming videos I will increase the level one by one, so we will cover every options and we will focusing on standard cluster in this in few videos. Then we will move to autopilot also. So I'm in my console. Let's click on create a Kubernetes cluster. When you create a new cluster, sometimes it says create an autopilot cluster because it is now a default and recommended cluster. So we can see there are some limited options are there. We will go these options later on. This video we are focusing on standard cluster. So let's click on switch to standard cluster, and you can see it is saying something like autopilot are optimized for most production workloads, and it implement best practices for Kubernetes for security, scalability, and cost optimization. And Google recommended to run autopilot. But in a standard cluster, Google manage a control plane, but you manage more configuration setting in your cluster and nodes. So in agar in the and if pre-configured autopilot hardened clusters or default cluster configuration doesn't fit your use case, we can use standard cluster. So we will click on switch to standard cluster, and once now we are here, we have to define a cluster basics. Now we have a cluster name, and then we have the option regional or zonal. So if you want regional cluster, it will create mm, like nodes your in three zones per cluster, but we are okay with zonal cluster. You can see the price also, price will go up and down depend upon your cluster. So it is now zonal cluster. After that, we will cover all these topics later on in this video. I will just creating a simple cluster. You can see all the zones are available. In which zone you want to create, you can choose. After that, we have release channel. We will cover this later on. And affiliate registration is also there. Then we have default pool. So default pool means it is a kind of instance group you want to name anything. So we can say like standard pool. So after that you have to define a number of nodes you want to run this pool. So I can say like I want only two nodes, and after that your provisioning model like which VMs, standard, spot, flex start VMs, all these things you find in your when you create a virtual machine also. If you click on nodes, you will find the container runtime also. You can use container optimized CO OS with container. You can use Ubuntu with container. You can even use Windows also. And after that, you have to choose a machine type. Like when you create a virtual machine, and now you can choose this type. Suppose I want standard disk. You can define boot disk also. Like I want 70 GB. And after that, you can go into networking part. You can define all these things. We will cover later on. You can define your service account also. If you have different service account, you can choose that also with limited permissions. You can define your metadata. So these are all node pools. Node pools will be for your worker nodes. This configuration will define on your worker nodes. But if you want any cluster level configuration, you have to come down. Here you will find automation like enable maintenance window, vertical pod scaling, and in networking you will find many things: DNS, authorized networks, and in security you will find binary authorization, secret manager, workload identity, backup plan you can define. You can define metadata. If you want to enable any feature, you can enable those features. We will cover all these things in coming videos. So let me click on create with the in my basic cluster, and I will click on create. Cluster has been created. Now if we go to details, you will find out multiple things about this cluster like name and all the options which we will going to cover in future videos. And after that, let's go to one more thing, that is import nodes. In the nodes you will find a node pool which we have created a standard pool, and if you go inside this, find the node pool like number of nodes, 2, auto scaling is off, zone is your central one. And if you come down, you will find one instance group also. You can see this is an instance group and there are two nodes running. And even if you go to compute engine and click on VM instances, you will find the same compute VM running here also. You can see KP and FB. You will find the same thing here also. So basically, we have an instance group in which two VMs are running, and if one is goes down, instance group will create automatically new one. So now let's go back and to connect to the cluster. You can click here, connect to the cluster, and run this command in Cloud Shell. It will automatically create a connection to your cluster. So let me click on this command. You can see I'm able to fetch the cluster. If you run command get nodes, you can see we are having two nodes as you can see which we are running. And if you want to see any, let's run kubectl pods. We have no pods in the default one, but if we run all namespaces, so it will show all the pods which are running, and that is maintained by Kubernetes only. We don't have to do anything. These are the namespaces, these are the pods, and these are the replicas like 2 by 2, 1 by 1 means two replicas it required, and two are running. And the time you can see they are kube DNS as we talked about, kube proxy as we talked about, kube proxy is running everywhere, fluent, matrix, and multiple are running. Now I have a file, let me do ls cat deploy.yaml. So basically this file is going to create a deployment and it will have two replicas, and it is going to run nginx latest image. So let's go and run this file kubectl apply -f deploy.yaml, and we can see it is going to create soon. It has been created. So if we get kubectl get deploy, it will show the deployment status. As we can see, it is as of now 0 by 2. We need 2 and 0 has been created. And let's run. We can see 2 or 2 are ready. And if we get kubectl get rs means replica set, it will show that also this is our replica set. And if we run kubectl get pods, and we can see the pods are also running, and these pods are maintained by this replica set only. As you can see, nginx deployment, can you check this number 9695, here 695 only. After that, this is the unique number or alphanumeric for this specific pod. Now if we go to our cluster and click on workloads, you will find the same nginx deployment here also. You can see nginx deployment is running here. Pods are to user manage, and if you go inside this deployment, let's go here, and you will find multiple things here. Like you will find all the monitoring part, you will find the active revisions, like replica set, we have managed pods, and you even find in any more details you want, you can find here. You want to run any observability revision history, if you want to YAML file for this, you can find that YAML file here only. And if you go to overview, if you want to increase anything, you can go, oh, you can enable horizontal pod scaling, vertical. Let's edit replicas. As of now 2 replicas are running, let's make it 5, and it will create our 5 replicas. Now let's go here and run our replicas. So let's run kubectl get pods, so find out how many replicas are running. So you can see 5 replicas are running. It has already created the 5 replicas. So like this you can manage your deployment from outside also. So we have the option to manage from here also, or if you want to manage, you can manage via CLI also, or you can manage via, or if you're using a source code, you can define there also. So even if there is multiple option, like we can use run this command kubectl scale deploy, and we have to provide our name of deployment, nginx deployment hyphen hyphen replicas. And if I give 2, it will scale down to 2. And if I run this command again, you can see now 2 replicas are running. Like this you can do anything if you want. So this is a very basic video I have shown you, in which how to create a cluster, what are the options, very basic options we have, what are the how to manage workloads and all that. In the future videos we will increase our level, we will learn about more about these all these things, how to use cluster, what are the options, how to cover this. Let me delete this cluster also. Like this you can delete the cluster if you don't need. Okay, it's a free trial, I don't want to waste my free trial on this. So it will delete my cluster and all the things which has been created inside this cluster. So I will create more videos soon, and I will keep on posting now on maybe on weekly basis, on daily basis. And if you have any questions, just comment it down. If you have any suggestions, just comment it down also. I will drop my email ID. If you have any questions, we can connect sometime if I get a time. Thank you very much.